Congregation of Holy Cross is a relatively new religious community in the history of the Church, considering the 2,000-year span of history since the birth of Jesus. Our community was founded only 170 years ago, in the early 19th century, in the wake of the French Revolution. At the time, cataclysmic change imbued the Western culture, not only through violent revolutions, but even more significantly, through momentous shifts in thinking. A cultural phenomenon was born, the Age of Enlightenment. Human genius, thought now to be liberated from the restraints of religious superstition, promised to unleash and harness the earth's energies for producing an abundant harvest of material prosperity. The dawn of industrialization, growth in the trade of commerce, and wondrous new discoveries of the physical sciences set the Western world on an emboldened course of de-Christianization. All of these advances seemed to dissipate any need for a belief in God. Faith in the supernatural was slowly giving way to widespread secularism. Trust in absolute reason as the key for untangling life's mysteries diminished confidence in the power of God's grace to aid and support us. Human dreams of power, wealth, and pleasure captivated our imagination like never before. And although the human species benefited enormously through the successes of these revolutions, the burden of human suffering still lingered and always will.
In the words of Charles Dickens, it was the best of times, it was the worst of times. For the Church, it was the worst of times, in that many people were abandoning religious faith, and in some places, religious belief was violently oppressed. In France, a reign of terror persecuted believers, hunting them down as criminals. Many were put to death. Churches and schools were destroyed. Christians were forbidden to assemble. But it was also the best of times, in that a new and fresh movement of the Holy Spirit began to blow throughout the Church. God's love would not and could not be suppressed. Among these leaders were two French priests, Father Jacques Dujarier and Father Basil Moreau.
Father Dujarier gathered men in an association of brothers to teach in schools. It was their hope to open the hearts and minds to the challenges and promises of Christian faith. Father Moreau organized priests to preach the gospel throughout the ravaged, priestless parishes of rural France. As advancing age and persistent sickness left Father Dujarier too weak and frail to offer the instruction and encouragement his teachers needed, he turned to the dynamic and charismatic Basil Moreau to take responsibility for their direction. Father Moreau soon organized these two associations of dedicated brothers and priests into one religious community known as the Congregation of Holy Cross.
He also called together a group of devout women to join them. He wanted his new community to be like the Holy Family of Nazareth. The brothers to be called Josephites, the sisters Marianites, and the priests Salvatores.
In founding the Congregation of Holy Cross, Father Moreau chose as the focus of spirituality for his new community the motto, "The cross, our only hope."
One thing that we really need to be aware of with Father Moreau and the cross is that when crosses came in Father Moreau's life, he always anticipated the blessings that would come with the resurrections. For him, it was one and the same thing. And it's the hope of the cross that helped him to keep his passion alive, that keep his vision alive, and keep the community together.
He realized that a disheartened, suffering world needed abiding hope in the ultimate triumph of God's love. And for his consecrated religious, Father Moreau always exhorted them to find their anchor of hope in the cross of self-sacrifice.
Just as Jesus' love brought him face to face with powerful interests that oppose self-emptying love, Basil Moreau taught his religious to put others' needs before their own. Jesus confronted the pain and death that sin inflicts. Father Moreau insisted that his religious do the same.
Father Moreau founded his congregation of Holy Cross to be a family. He wanted the brothers, priests, and sisters of Holy Cross to model their religious life on the Holy Family of Nazareth. He expected us to express our religious vows of poverty, chastity, and obedience as acquired virtues that would transform us and reveal the living Christ both among us and from within us. He understood our vows as habits of life, habits of the heart, habits of daily behavior, which would form our personalities into the person of Jesus himself.
Father Moreau desired ardently that we would conform ourselves to Christ in feeling, thought, word, and deed, so that it would be we who live no longer, but Christ who lives within us. From this simple beginning of a new religious foundation, planted in the small and modest neighborhood in Le Mans, France called Sainte-Croix, a tiny seed of hope began to blossom and expand, like a mighty tree developing and increasing in size, scope, and undertakings, spreading far and wide to the ends of the earth.
The academic philosophy of Father Moreau offered a vibrant and practical response to the astounding educational challenges in the age of enlightenment. Even though we base our philosophy course on the data of faith, he wrote, we do not wish our students to be ignorant of anything they should know.
Father Moreau's decisive legacy of offering a Christian education attuned to the discoveries of the modern sciences and technologies, while upholding a vibrant faith in Jesus' gospel, is a great gift to the modern world. Jesus was a teacher par excellence. Holy Cross educators strive to teach as Jesus taught. Father Moreau's basic model and foundation for all the ministries of his congregation was found in the example of the compassionate Jesus.
We have not just an opportunity, but a duty to think and speak and act in ways that will guide, inspire, and heal.
Father Moreau told us that Jesus desires to cure all of our miseries, above all, our spiritual sicknesses. In this legacy, we bear in our hearts the suffering of others and offer them Jesus' healing.
Father Moreau confided his new congregation to the patronage of Mary, Our Lady of Sorrows. Mary experienced the sufferings of Jesus as only a mother can know and experience the sufferings of her child. We too are her children. She bears all our sufferings with the compassion of a mother.
We are each called to develop our talents to their full potential and to do all that we can that our neighbor may do the same. Basil Moreau dedicated his life to educating in faith, in hope, and in love. He did so with zeal. He did so through a vision of women and men, clergy and lay people, Catholics and those of other religions who love God, working together to build a kingdom of justice on earth, the Lord's kingdom.
We are found as chaplains and pastoral ministers, at bedsides and sick rooms, in hospice homes and around kitchen tables. The sick can be visited, the bereaved can find someone to talk to, someone who will listen.
Like those who have gone before us, Holy Cross is challenged today to be a community of individuals who are called to teach, called to heal, and called to pray, called to bring hope to the ends of the earth, called to make God known, loved, and served.